Hello, thank you for watching Love Always. I am your presenter, Love, bringing you short teachings on self development and growth mindset practices. We are here on episode 4, and I just want to say a big thank you. And today I will be focusing on self reflection and accountability. Before we get into it, I just want to start off with a prayer, the usual. So if you can join me in a short prayer, that would be amazing. Thank you. Thank you for filling me up. Thank you for helping me through today. Thank you for sharing your love, for making sure that the words of wisdom, the discernment gets through today. Thank you for my vulnerability. Thank you for letting me be transparent. Thank you for letting me be able to share some of my experiences in order to help someone else. Thank you for letting my story be able to resonate with others. Thank you for letting me be a savior. Thank you, thank you. Praise be. Okay, so what I would like is just a quick recap before we get into the following segments. I want to just quickly go over the home learning task that I gave to you, which was to fill the jar up with gratitude of things of yourself, about your self-being that you are grateful for, and examples as to why. If you want to refill your jar and you want somewhere to put what you've written down, then what I wanted to show you was a happy book that I created, and it has all of the positive affirmations that I have collected and saved, also positive mantras as well. And I also have my vision board at the back of it, and then some toolkit practices. So it's just a really colourful but also helpful and happy book for me to just go through when I want to. So if you want somewhere to put everything that you've written down, then please do that as an example. Okay, so moving on to segment 1. So segment 1, share your path. In this segment, I will be sharing my experience of self-reflection and accountability. So in the previous episodes, you will have seen that I've spoken briefly about some of the things that I've gone through. Just to summarize, once I addressed the trauma, once I accepted and started going through the grieving process, and I appreciated and gave thanks for my past after discovering the lessons that were there for me to learn with clarity and understanding. I was able to revisit what I had been through and really was able to give thanks for the journey. I then was able to rediscover my inner child, and then that helped me heal. So what I continued to do was the inner work so that I could continue to improve. And once I detached from my former self, once I let go and was no longer fighting and holding on to anything that identified me, anything that was no longer serving me, once I said goodbye and I moved on, I then continued to stay within myself, because that's where I was. I was separated, detached, and I was just loving on me. And when I poured all of that love into me and could feel myself loving myself, I then was aware of all of the challenges and triggers and tests that were coming at me. And I used wisdom and discernment to handle them differently. And one of the things that I did was silence. Some of the things that were changing. So when I was sitting with myself, I was praying. I was praying so hard. I was still doing my prayer. And a lot of the things that I was praying for was with the change, to accept it, to remove anything that doesn't serve me well. And things started shifting. People started shifting. There was just so much happening, and it wasn't subtle, but I was like a queen on a chessboard, and I just watched and I let things naturally happen whilst I understood how I should navigate and maneuver by just going with my being. I didn't go on impulse like what I would usually do and fly off the handle, or become really angry and let that take over, or if something was riding on my chest, feel like I had to say it. I realized that silence was a virtue. And me then being able to assess how to handle situations meant that I was navigating things a lot differently with a calm and sound mind. So when I took that time to reflect on my past, I was able to see my experiences through theory of mind. And that is when you're able to see your own state of mind as well as others' states of mind, including their beliefs, emotions, desires. And it was like people were mirrors, and I was able to see fragments of my past self within people, or I could see my higher self. And that helped me to really gravitate, I felt, towards the people who I could see who reflected parts of the higher self who I wanted to become. And I was aware of those who I could help, who I could see was still experiencing some of the things from my former self, and who I could guide, but also those who I could only wish them well and know that they were no longer part of the journey that I had aligned on and the path that I was taking. So once I took accountability for my actions, and that was really important for me to do because it was something that I hadn't really done before, is really see my role and my part that I played in my situations and experiences. And sometimes there was nothing that I could have done differently, but I was aware afterwards of the things that I could have done differently in certain situations, of where I hurt people, but also I was aware of where people hurt me, because I never liked ever to see myself as a victim. I was always someone who saw the adversities, what I'd been through, as something to grow from and build resilience. But I realized that for me to move on, I had to accept that I was a victim in a lot of situations. And it then made sense to me why I behaved in certain ways or why I thought certain things and so forth. So I had to accept that to survive, to become a savior. So that's what I did. And I also realized that my being was the one thing that I had that would keep me and drive me in the right direction. So all I had to do was connect to it at all times. And I felt that by connecting to it, it was when I was pouring self-love into myself that was filling me up with joy. When I was giving to others, I was being filled up with joy. So I just kept on doing things that were filling me up with joy. And I found that throughout the days, I was becoming much more at peace. And then through continuous meditation, self-help work, I then started to become in love with the higher version of myself that I was feeling myself transforming into. Things were happening in my favor, and I was able to start to move from seeing self-worth to see myself as an asset. When I started to see myself as valuable and indispensable, and the beauty that I have within, that's when everything changed. That was the game changer, because I was able to then see the beauty of the outside world and everything that the world has to offer for me to create how I want it to be. So what I then found was I was doing things naturally, giving thanks for my inner being naturally. I was giving thanks to the trees when I looked out of the window or walked past it, things that I would never do before. I realized that the power at B has created something magnificent, which I am part of. For me, everything is at one, and it's about giving thanks for all that we have. So what I would like you to do is a quick joy check. And I want you to think about, what have you done to bring your heart joy throughout the day, your mind, body and soul. It could be something such as listening to music or dancing. But what I would like you to do is start off by continuously adding whatever it is that brings you joy into your day, and find that you are now filling your inner being by doing stuff that actually brings fulfillment and joy into your life. So gravitate, focus on what brings your inner being, your soul, joy. Okay, so now we're going to move on to segment 2, which is deep rooted work. And in deep rooted work, I just want to share with you a practice that I did, which will help you to identify any areas of your inner being that you need to continue to work on to become whole. I did this to help me become the higher version of myself when I opened up my mind and was able to really have a vision for myself and see that the box and the lid on top of the box had been taken off, and I was no longer holding myself and limiting myself into a small confinement. I could see the world being my oyster, and I was aware of how I was able to impact my friends, my family, and others in such a large way that it gave me hope. And then with hope, then came belief. Then with belief came trust and faith. So opportunities, I would say, because I had been closed off before. I was very private, very closed off. I wouldn't have done something like this before. I wouldn't have had open social medias, but I started to do things and trust the unknown and take risks. And I found that I was networking with people who were aligning with bringing me along the path of my higher version of myself, that past achievements that I had gained. I was then given opportunities to really utilize it in a different and more powerful way. So I just started accepting all of the goodness that was coming to me. So what I would like you to do is remove the ego, remove fear, remove doubt when you do this activity, and really think about your inner being and focus on what brings you joy by exploring all areas such as family, money, interests, relationships, what all of those areas, within those areas, what brings you joy, and that's what you want to do more of daily, or where you want to prioritize your time to put yourself first. Okay, so moving on to segment 3, care package. You know I love this segment. So I'm going to share with you Roxy Nafousu. So Roxy Nafousu, this is her book called Manifest Dive Deeper, but it's her second book. So her first book is called Manifest, which is orange, and I recommend you reading that book first. However, I read her both books. I have read both, but I read this one first on audio because at the same time I was listening to The Secret on audio, and both books together, this book and The Secret, woo, it changed my life. It made the course of my life change into a different path. And this book really helped me to dig deeper and find my inner child, heal from my past trauma, but then work towards becoming the higher version of myself. And that's because there are practical activities in here. There are things that's also written from therapists as well to help guide you. Her backstory, so the author's backstory, that really resonated with me. She's a genuine person, but her journey was very powerful when she explained everything that she's been through. And I felt that I started and have continued with Love Always because of being inspired by her book. So please do get both. But this book, if you want to really heal your childhood trauma, or if you want to find your inner self, your inner child, this is a book for you. Moving on to segment 4, Cleanse Your Soul. I just want to first of all start off by saying thank you to everyone who has read my ebook, who has DM'd for it, or who has left an amazing comment. I really did take that time to write the ebook because it brought joy when I was writing and creating it. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to share it with you. So if you do want to read the copy, please feel free to DM ebook and I will send you one. Now we're going to end with a short breathing exercise, and then I would like you to get into a short self-guided meditation. Please do this for 3 minutes, but if you are experienced at meditating, please do it for 13 minutes. Okay, so I'd just like you to close your eyes or look downwards, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. And I'd like you to drop your shoulders and relax your arms. And take a deep breath in, self-love. Breathe in self-love on the count of 8. And breathe out on the count of 8 seconds, self-sabotage. And repeat this 3 times. And then guide yourself into a self-meditation. I'm going to end here. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. See you on Sunday. Love always. Bye for now.